So if you watched the last video, then you know what I'm up against with all this going on. So we need to get those LED headlights to fit, we got to cut this bucket out, like the back side of that bucket. That's not an issue, but the biggest issue is trying to find all the hardware to screw all of this shit in. And then I think there's a spring that, from what my dad was saying, that there's a spring that probably goes in that slot right there to hold that in. So you get two adjuster screws and then a spring to kind of tighten it. So I'm picking up these right now. $100. $100 for just these in the gasket. So that's pretty wild. So I can only imagine brand new fender extension. But yeah, let's get started. That was a mission. So took every single one of those down, dumped them out. Buckets over there, this box, buckets down here. But I sourced most of what I need for all of this. So, and then I needed 3 screws for this. The only thing I couldn't find was the adjuster screws that go in here. They like pinch this and kind of adjust it up and down. So I got those off of eBay. Found those, they were like 12 bucks. And then the spring, so what I realized is that there's these plastic clips, so those come with the adjuster screws and the spring too. But the issue is that where the adjuster screw would go on this side went somewhere, I don't know where it went, but I think this is pot metal. I don't think this is weldable. We're gonna have to figure something out with that. But the spring goes in here and pinches the bucket. So this trim ring is what holds the headlight into this bucket. But we're gonna have to trim the back side of this so it could seat all the way. So I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut both of them, and then I'm gonna start cleaning these up and painting them. So on these, there was these 2 little tabs on here that I had to grind off for it to fit down like into the bucket. And here's this all painted up. I got both of them hanging. What I use is this Zero Rust, because these were rusted, and that's why I cleaned them up. I burned them down to bare metal and cleaned them up. We're back at the house now. I brought the trim with me because the buckets I left over at my parents', they're hanging up to dry. This is what I got going on. So here's the main bezel. This is the piece that holds the headlight in, and then here's the turn signal trim. So I'm gonna sand these down. I got a 180 grit, a 320 grit, and a 400. I might not even need the 320, but just if the 180 leaves any scratches, that'll help get that out. And then I got a tack cloth to clean everything up. And then I also have this is really good for paint. I use this before I paint anything. It's super easy because you just gotta spray it on. You don't have to like dip a rag in acetone or whatever. And then this is adhesion promoter for stuff like plastic and vinyl, chrome, whatever, like stuff that ain't metal, not like stuff that's harder to paint. Like I use this on the intake, the LS1 intake, when I painted that. I didn't buy this for this trim. because I wouldn't have bought like a rust. I bought this just because we were low on paint, and this is just what I have. So we're gonna go with that. It's a semi-gloss enamel, so I'm hoping, and it says direct to metal, so I'm hoping it works. But and then depending, it says it's a semi-gloss, so we'll see what it looks like. But we also got a gloss clear coat in case we want a little bit more shine. Yeah, and LS Fest, that's the goal for the Elko, is to get it to LS Fest. So we got to get cranking on this thing. So let's get started. All right, so I got the Corvette all wrapped up and covered up. So this, I think it is some chicken wire or something, but I'm gonna take this to clip to hang from up here for when it comes time to spray. I took these inside and I washed them with soap and water because they were extremely dirty. They had like literal dirt all over them. So I got these cleaned up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding these. I'm not gonna bore you guys with all the sanding and that bullshit, so I might cut to me, do a time lapse of me painting and spraying, but we'll see. So I got everything scuffed down. This had that white, flaky white paint on it that I sanded off. Yeah, I cleaned up these pieces a lot too. So now that everything's painted, sanded, I'm gonna spray it down with this, clean it up, and then I'm gonna hang it, maybe spray it one more time, and then it's time for that. Everything's pretty evenly spread, so now time to just wipe everything down with this paint prep, and then I'll go through, I'll spray everything with the adhesion promoter, and then give this maybe 10 minutes, well, 3 minutes apart between each coat. Apply top coat within 10 minutes of last primer. So spray this, wait 3 minutes, spray another, and then before 10 minutes, spray the top coat. So let's get to it. So I had to cut this fender extension to actually fit the back of this as well, because so now you'll see that both are cut. At first I was thinking that this bucket would sit back far enough so that wouldn't interfere with it, but that was not the case. So I got both cut out, and then I cut the tab off the end of that because I got something in mind. So you'll see I got this piece made up and I got it riv nutted on here, and there's a circle behind here. That's where that adjuster screw would come through. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and cut that square out from that piece that I just mounted. But it sounds a lot easier than it will be, is what I'm guessing. So I'm gonna trace that circle, try and center that square as best as possible, and try and maybe file a square out. Let's get started. There you have it. It's not necessarily centered, but I think it'll work. It'll do the trick. So while this piece is drying, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna take this passenger side off, and I'm gonna paint the back just like I did on this. All right, there it is. So I still have to finish wiring the halos in up here, and then plugging the headlights in, and then we can get a look at the halos.